Hey, it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb, and on this episode, we're going to do a keto success story with women over 50 coming up next. Here we go. Getting Miss Lena on. It was totally my error. I apologize, you guys, so much for jacking with the times. She was gracious enough to just do it now, which was really, really nice. So Lena is a huge keto success story. She will tell her journey before. If you want to see part one of this, go check out on Countess of Low Carb YouTube. I'm going to put it down below. We have a series of them of talking with Lena, and it's really, really good with our keto success stories. So I'll put that in the description link below. While I'm getting the analytics set, please make sure you like this video, make sure you click subscribe, and make sure you share this video in your groups. Let me go ahead and bring Lena on camera to make it a dream. Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm a little rattled this morning, but other than that,
me too.
Girl, you and I got to work this 3-hour time frame out a little bit better than
I'm so sorry. It was completely my error. It was completely, you really could have said no. So thank you for being so gracious and so kind to buzz on now, freshly out of just rolling out of your slumber, because you guys are on a 3-hour time zone difference. So thank you so much for being here. Everybody, this is Lena with Keto Butter Buddies. She is amazing. And if you haven't seen our part one series on Countess of Low Carb YouTube, but Lena is a success keto story for women over 50 and 50, not 50, over 50. She's incredible. Her story is incredible. So without further ado.
I was 61, I think. So yeah, there you go.
Amazing. So I want to dive into questions. And if people do have questions, please feel free to put them below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. I want everyone to hear Keto Butter Buddies, the group for Lena. She runs are really incredible. It's one of my personal groups where I get so much value out of what you share because it's good stuff.
Well, thank you.
Sure. So what do you want to talk about first? We have so many topics. Do we want to dive into insulin conversation?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Because, that's my hot topic right now is insulin resistance and the importance of everybody checking their blood levels, even if you are not a diagnosed diabetic or a pre-diabetic. So I've been doing a lot of research as well as you have. Dr. Fung, Dr. Berry, they are both the superheroes. And I was diagnosed with being a pre-diabetic about 3 months ago, and it scared the bejesus right out of me.
Yes.
So that's when I started trying to, figure out what to do, because I do not want to become a full-blown diabetic. So 3 months ago, I started dabbling in intermittent fasting. I read the same books as you did, Dr. Fung's Obesity Code, his Complete Guide to Fasting. And I started in March, and I pretty much do an 18-6, probably 6 days a week. So when I started doing my blood monitoring at the same time 3 months ago, my morning blood draws were about 120, which is pretty damned high, because that would have been fasting. Now, I understand the dawn effect that there are a lot of people who have their blood glucose higher in the mornings due to the dawn effect, because around 4 o'clock in the morning, your body's getting ready to wake up and it shoots, adrenaline and all of the hormones to get you ready for the day and get you going. And in my case, it must have to shoot a whole heck of a lot of them, because this girl, as you have found out, is not a morning person. So anyway, I was running about 120, and about a month and a half or so in, it dropped down to the blood glucose in the morning, dropped down to about around 112. And just recently, I am so pumped. And partially because I made my first 24-hour fast.
Yay!
Today, don't know that I'll make it today, but we'll try. Anyway, my blood glucose is now reading about 97, 100 in the morning, which is phenomenal, and it is lower all throughout the day now, and I think I've got a handle on this.
For somebody who doesn't,
I'm going to continue to work on it.
For somebody who doesn't know what those numbers mean, what do those numbers mean? Where should one be for their numbers?
Okay, so you should never be above 140 after you've eaten a meal. You should be 80 to 100 fasting. So my numbers are still a little bit high, because they're 97 to 100. I'd really like to get them down into about 92. So I'm working on that. I am becoming less insulin resistant, I think. I'm going to see Dr. Berry in September. I've already got my appointment on the books. I'll be traveling to visit with my dad in Tennessee, who lives just roughly about 30 miles from Dr. Berry. And so my insulin resistance is the very first question I'm going to have for Dr. Berry, and then some hormone levels, some bioidentical hormones. So anyway, those are what those numbers mean, and I'm excited that I'm getting mine down. I don't want to have to take the insulin medications at all. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. I think it's extremely important. So I guess my point is that even if you are not a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, it is really important for you to know what your blood glucose numbers are. You don't want to become a pre-diabetic and or a diabetic. That's a really serious illness, and it is a curable illness through your diet and intermittent fasting. So there's no need for anybody to come up with type 2 diabetes, and that's kind of my soapbox today. Is blood glucose. If you don't have a monitor, just real quick, if you don't have a monitor, contact your doctor and tell them that you're concerned and get them to prescribe one for you, and then you can get all of the supplies off of your insurance. And if not, they're not that expensive on Amazon or even in Wally World.
I put it in the description link below.
Perfect. Okay, so that's what I want. I got done what I want to talk about. What's on your mind?
No, I think that's such an important point. So somebody who's not pre-diabetic, that's not even in their zone, you would still recommend for them to get a blood glucose meter to still do the testings. Is that correct?
I would, but I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not in the medical field at all, so I can't tell you what to do. I can only tell you what my experiences have been, and I know that I'm getting my blood sugars under control. They weren't out of control, but they were headed to where they could be. And when I got the test results 3 months ago back from my doctor, and she said, you're pre-diabetic. She said, change your diet, drink your water.
Which you were doing keto.
Exercise. And so I've been, at that point in time, I've been doing keto for 3 years. So I fired her back an email and said, pardon my expression, what the hell do you want me to do? I'm eating 20 or less carbohydrates a day. I haven't knowingly had sugar in my mouth in 3 years. What do you want me to do? And her reply to me was, and I'm a little distraught about this reply. Her reply to me was, well, you were I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with my daughter. And so her reply was, well, women who had gestational diabetes tend to have a higher risk of becoming diabetic as they age, and that you're aging, and that's what's happening. She said, imagine what this would have been had you not been eating a ketogenic diet for the last 3 years. So I was a little disturbed about that, but she said, just continue on doing what you're doing, and we'll go from there. So anyway, that's what I did. I asked her for the glucose monitor. She said, sure. And I've been monitoring it. I see her in another month, I think, of which she'll take a look at everything and we'll readjust. But like I said, I got a ketogenic doctor on board in Tennessee, and I'll be seeing him in September.
And I'm going to put below Dr. Berry's book, Lies My Doctor Told Me, and also Dr. Fung's book, The Complete Guide to Fasting. That will also be in the description link below. Those are phenomenal, life-changing
Great.
books, in my humble opinion, and I know Lena agrees with me. So
Yeah,
in terms of
absolutely.
testing, so if this is a foreign concept, but again, going back to the insulin testing, because so many people are unknowingly insulin resistant, when would you recommend them doing a
Yes.
glucose testing? What are the times? And talk a little bit about that for somebody in terms of the times that you do it again.
Well, I test about an hour to 2 hours after I get up in the morning because I kind of want to get that dawn effect out of my system. So I check that, and then I check just before I eat my first meal. And for me, I don't eat because I'm doing an intermittent fast daily. I don't eat. My first meal is between um, noon and 2, depending on when I stopped eating the previous night. So, so I test about 2 hours after I've been up in the morning, just before I eat my first meal, and then I test again 90 minutes after that meal. And then I'm not a snacker anymore. Woo-hoo-hoo. I can't believe ketogenic diet did that for me, but I don't snack. Snacking will increase your insulin level. And the whole name of the game here is to keep our insulin as low as we can throughout the entire day. So I don't snack anymore. So I test just before most meals. And then I test before I go to bed because I want to know what it was before I go to bed. So I test, so I eat 2 meals a day. So I'm testing 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day is what I'm doing. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, you know,
Right.
this is what's working for me so that I can keep
Yes.
track of my glucose levels.
Yes, yes. I think that that's so wonderful. And for people who are visual learners, I'm going to type this up and make it a blog post too, because the more I've learned personally from my own weight loss journey about insulin resistance, it's the name of the game. This 1990s mentality of calories in, calories out, that is not the name of the game. The name of the game is keeping our insulin as low as we possibly can through doing things like intermittent
Yes.
fasting and not keto snacking and having, 2 meals, 1 meal, things like that. What other tips do you have for somebody who is who wants to know more about this? What other resources? So we talked about the books, we've talked about testing. What else do you have for suggest? Because you are such a wealth of knowledge. By the way, if anybody wants to like Lena's Keto Butter Buddies Facebook page, I have that in the description link too, because I know some people like to get a hold of you because you have such great wisdom to share. What else do you have to share with us? Because you're riffing, girlfriend. You rock it out. You go wherever you want to talk about.
Well, so for me, my main sources are Dr. Fung and Dr. Berry. I like the diet doctors. They're pretty down to earth. They've got some great videos. And I know for me, once I got started with one resource, it just led to another. Dr. Berry's book, Lies My Doctor Tells Me. The one thing I love about that book is he cites all of his resources. And so from there, when I've read his book, I have gone, if it was a subject that I was more interested in, I took his recommendations and I purchased his resource if it was something that I could purchase, a book, or I watched a YouTube video, whatever, read the report. And so that's been a wonderful resource for me. I'm an avid reader anyway, but my genre has changed. And you should see my stack of books that I've got piled up to read, all about your salt intake, your magnesium intake, your blood glucose, fasting, you name it, keto. I'm really trying to educate myself. So those are my tips on that. Is find someone that you feel comfortable with and you trust, and then continue to read their resources that they provide for you and that they suggest that you read.
So folks who are just joining us, make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, and make sure you share this video too. So there's so many people out there, and I see it all the time for people who talk about women, and then women who are, over 50. This is great content. Sorry, I didn't know if you were going to say something.
Yep.
Hmm.
I got a new obsession. I talked to you that I hit my first 24-hour fast, and I don't know why that's so difficult for me. I get to basically 20, 21 hours, and then I look at the clock, and that screws me
Hmm.
up. And I'm not particularly hungry, but that screws me up. So I just found a new product, and I think I sent you the message on it, and don't have it in my hand. It's the little tin of salt.
Yes. It's in the
And
description link below.
and
Hmm.
so it's in the
Mousins.
description. Okay, so I don't have it with me, and I don't want to go walking through the house to go find it. And
Yeah.
I would have had it with me, but the Countess and I had a little screw up on our timing this morning. And that's why you're
The
seeing me
Countess
sitting
did.
here,
You didn't.
basically the out of bed, no makeup. Sorry, I hadn't even brushed my teeth this morning. So, but here we go.
You're so awesome.
So the salt was a lifesaver for me. Check out the link. And as I nibbled on that salt all day long and stuck it underneath my tongue, and the thing that's really great about it is they're flakes, and I like it much better than the pink salt, the regular pink salt that's in a grinder.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I thought, oh my God, Lena, this flake salt has become your new M&Ms.
Because they're in a little tin. Do you like open the tin and like pop out
They're
the?
right. They're in a little tin. You get to play with them, and you can put one or two in your mouth at a time. And
Cute.
M&Ms for me were my kryptonite before being on a ketogenic diet. And I'm embarrassed to say, but it was not unusual for me to purchase the absolute largest bag that I could find, especially on a day that was really a stressful work day, or a stressful emotional day for me. And I would just pop those M&Ms all along. And so I'm doing that with that little salt tin, and I'm thinking, oh my God, okay, here's my better be careful, Lena. You don't want these to become your new M&Ms. But all kidding aside, it really helped. And so my point is, if you're having trouble getting through the day on an intermittent fast, pop a little bit of salt into your mouth, and it just sort of gives you it's a hack. It hacks your mind into thinking you've had something to eat.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. I
those
love
were
it.
the two main things I wanted to touch on today.
When you sent that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so brilliant. Because you were the one, whenever I quote the pink salt under the tongue, I'm like, that is from Keto Butter Buddies. That is from my friend Lena. That was her suggestion to me to help ride past intermittent fasting cravings. Or if I'm on keto and I'm craving something sweet or crunchy, carby, that for me is my go-to trick as a result of your suggestion. So this new tin trick, these flakes, and they're in the description below. I cannot wait to get my tin. We're all going to have tins all over the United States and Canada and Australia and all of our international friends. Pop in the flakes.
Yeah, I've got one in the purse, one in the car, and one
Funny.
next to my recliner where I sit and watch TV.
Love it. Love it. We've talked previously about this, but I always like to touch on this because this is part of my journey, and I know for many, many thousands of other people too, is the emotional component of this. And we touched on this on our last interview, which you can go to Countess of Low Carb on YouTube. That's where it's uploaded, or on the Facebook group. Have you had any new revelations in terms of the emotionally, like after hearing the advice from your doctor 3 months ago about being pre-diabetic, does any emotional stuff ever come in for you now, of where that triggers eating, binge eating, eating off plan? I know the answer to this, but I would love to hear you actually answer it, as opposed to me thinking I know the answer.
Okay, so emotional eating for me is going to be a lifetime struggle. That's all there is to it. I'm wired that way. It's what got me in trouble in the first place. It's what got me 80 pounds heavier. It will continue to be my Achilles heel all of my life. I know that about myself. I pay very close attention to what's going on in my life emotionally. I don't want to go into too much personal stuff, but just had a little incident that kind of could have set me back. It's all good now. Everything turned out well, and I knew that this could send me down a deep abyss. And I worked very hard at that. I made sure that I had the proper amount of sleep. Sleep really affects my emotional eating. When I headed for the refrigerator, because that's what I do that on the subconscious level, and I would find myself standing in front of the refrigerator. Well, there isn't anything in there that's not ketogenic, but you can binge on ketogenic foods. So you know, that's not necessarily a, you know, I won't get the carbs. So I've lost my train of thought here. So, you know, you won't get the carbs binging on ketogenic food, but you still get, it just continues to trigger that emotional stress eating. When you stress eat, it doesn't matter what you eat. You're still, for me, even if I'm stressing out on, so say cheese sticks or pepperoni sticks, that's still binge eating. And so I work really hard at trying not to do that, even though it's a safe binge food. I work real hard at that. So I would make myself, you know, do laps around my kitchen. I've got kind of a circular kitchen in the center of the house, and I would, you know, march, you know, walk around and around and around the house until I kind of got control of that, wanting to just throw stuff in my mouth. Sleep is good. Exercise is good. Just being cognizant of why you're headed to the kitchen to get something to eat. Keeping all of your binge trigger foods out of the house. Those are the things that I do. And I take time for myself every single day. I know that everybody is really, really, really busy. I see the Countess in her closet quite frequently, taking some time for herself. Taking time for yourself, even 20 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, meditates, focus on your breathing, but just take time for yourself so that you can assess what's going on in your life, and you can kind of get a handle on stress eating triggers or emotional eating triggers by just taking some time for yourself and looking inward and listening to your mind and listening to your body. As I've aged, I've really learned to listen to my body. I had a little incident, just as an example, I had a little incident the other day. I was up early in the morning. For me is 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm up and I'm busy in the kitchen, and I haven't had a drink of water, and I haven't had a drink of coffee, and I haven't had anything since 6 o'clock the night before. And all of a sudden I'm shaky, and I'm feeling nauseated. And so okay, what's going on, Lena? So I sit down and take stock. Well, you haven't had anything to drink. And I wasn't hungry. And I had a really bad night's sleep the night before. So I was able to sit down, get some water, think about what had gone on the day before that might have caused me to feel a little out of sorts, shaky that day. And once I figured that out, and I dropped a little bit of salt on my tongue, my electrolytes were out, and I came to realize that when I looked back over the previous days, I'd not been drinking my water, so I was basically dehydrated, and that was what was causing my problem. But had I not sat down and said, okay, what's going on with your body? Why are you feeling shaky? This is not normal for you. And I also checked my blood glucose, because I thought, okay, maybe, silly girl, I thought my blood glucose probably dropped. I'm probably low. Well, no, it wasn't. It was 142, which is really scary. But then I did a little research. I didn't panic. I did a little research, and and all stemmed back to being dehydrated. I simply had not had enough water in the previous 3 days, and my body was telling me, okay, you got to have some water. So I've been open, pumped the water back in, and I no more issues.
Wow.
So my point there is listen to your body, folks. Listen to your body.
Oh, that's such a great example. That's a great example. And if you're watching, put down below, great example. So we know things like these, if you like these examples, because for me, that's when I watch these interviews, I'm like, what's the tangible things I can walk away with, these success tips that I can walk away with and start applying into my own personal life. And while some of these things are basic, for me also, I need basic. I need simple. I need to not make it so complicated. So stuff like that, saying, listen to your body, just take the extra second instead of walking to the refrigerator to figure out what's going on in my body. To me, that's so huge. And it's a reminder of just listen to my body. My body's going to tell me. It's not going to lead me astray. It will tell me. So thank you for that awesome reminder. I love it. I love it. I love it. I did want to ask you, and I know you've been so gracious, Lena, to come on with Keto Butter Buddies and to share your wealth of information with us. So thank you so much. And with my time screw up, coming on, literally rolling out of bed and not brushing your teeth, thank you so much. You broke your 24 I know, totally my mistake. You did a 24-hour fast where you completed your 24-hour fast. And I've seen you, I've heard, we've gone back and forth about, I'm not going to do 24-hour fast or breaking past that threshold. For you, what was the change? What made you do that? Because when you messaged me that you did it, I was like, I was so happy for you. What was the change?
Well, I didn't pre-plan doing a 24-hour. So I did this on Friday, and Friday morning I got up, and my husband and I go to an outdoor concert during the summer months, and I always take a keto picnic. And if you've been following me on Keto Butter Buddies, you're probably sick to death of seeing my lap picnic meals on Friday nights. But I threw ribs into the crock pot, and then I made a couple of keto-friendly cold salads. And so like I said, I generally do an 18-hour fast anyway, and I had rolled into, it was already 19, 20-hour fast, and these pork ribs were just smelling really good. Mm-hmm. And for some reason I thought, today's the day. I'm just going for it. I'm going to do that 24. I'm already here. Let's just do the 24. You're already at 19, 20. So I look at the clock and I go, okay, I've only got 4 hours left. I've only got 3 hours left. I've only got 2. And that's how I did that. And again, today, so you threw out your challenge yesterday to do the 24-hour. And you'll notice I only hearted that. I didn't say, okay, yeah, I'm jumping right in there with you. For me, when I make that commitment, it's very scary. For me to say, yes, I'm going to do that 24-hour. So I don't know, what time is it here in California today? I'm going to be able to eat. It's almost 10. So I could eat at 12:30 today because I stopped at 6:30 last night. And sorry, there was a message from PG&E telling me I can't use my air conditioner today because we're having a smart day. So I had to get that off of the screen. So I think I'm going to work on today. I'm going to work on trying on that 24-hour today. I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to run some errands. So I'm in there with you, girl. I'm in there with you. I'm going to do the 24-hour today and see if it further affects my my insulin levels. If my blood sugar will be better tomorrow. So
I'm so fascinated. So I have a keto meter, and Dr. Berry told me with the keto meter that it's better to do the glucose monitoring. That those keto meters, I bought one of these fancy schmancy ones, and it turns out it was a complete waste of doing the glucose monitoring. If someone, you don't have to do the blood pricks, but if one wants to, and for me, it's about insulin management and being insulin resistant and healing that doing what Lena suggests, we're not doctors, this is not medical advice, but that there is something when I've started to do it, that for me, I've been testing a bunch with it. It's been very, very eye-opening that I didn't think that my glucose would be the way that it has been when I tested.
Well, for me, it's been a real eye-opener. I would have had no idea that my blood glucose was 142 the other day when I was all shaky and what have you. And that was a real shock, and I'm going to keep track of that. And if that happens again, believe me, I'm going to be headed into a doctor to see them to find out what's going on. I just want to give a quick shout out to Tabitha Jones. She says, yay. She says, Lena, I will do it with you. Okay. Yay, Tabitha. Okay, that's
Yay!
it. I've said it out. I've said it out loud. I can't eat until 6:30 tonight. So
Well, if you need to pull that back, it's totally okay. How this started was my girlfriend, Kayla, who I have another Keto Success interview with. She's lost 50 pounds through keto and she's been building her 24-hour fast time. She's not been ready for a while and recently has through Kat in our Facebook group. So it's all these, what we do permeates out, right? Like that's why I love these Facebook groups and the group dynamics is because people like Tabitha or Kayla or Kat or Sandra or Amy or all these other people or Haley, they help motivate us. For me, it's very motivating to do these fasting challenges, not by myself, but in a collective group because we can cheer each other on. So you go, Tabitha. You got this. That's right.
yes, yes. And the other thing, one of the tips that I've gotten from you is that if you have something a goal you want to accomplish, if you say it out loud, it changes the mindset, and you're more likely to stick with it and achieve that goal. So I'm trying to take that one from you and use that.
Thank you. It literally, when we
So,
verbally
and
speak things up.
speaking of goals, I am now 30 plus days no Diet Coke.
Oh my goodness, Lena, that is huge. I know what a big deal that is. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah,
That
that
is
was huge.
huge, 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 huge. I cannot say that myself. That is huge. No, so what was the flip for that? What made you flip that? You just felt like, boom, this is affecting me too much now. It's gotten to that point, or
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I have a very dear friend that I have known for. We've been friends for 35 years. I'm not going to mention her name, but she'll know who she is, and most everybody who knows me personally will know who she is. She does not eat a ketogenic diet. She's never had a weight problem. She's a remarkable support person for me, and she champions me. She if I even begin to think I might stray off, she's right there with me, encouraging me, telling me, no, you don't want to do this. But anyway, so this person, so my last vice, I had one vice, and it was Diet Coke. And I know it's not good for you. I know all of the bad chemicals in it.
yes.
And
We know that, people. We know that. You don't need to tell us the how. We know.
So, but it was my only vice. And so every time I would have one, she would say, Lena, I really wish you wouldn't drink that. It's not good for you. And she'd spout out all of the reasons why it wasn't good for her. And I would come back and I'd say, look, this is the only vice I have left. Leave me alone. I have to have at least one vice. I haven't had an M&M in over 3 years. I don't eat chocolate. I don't, leave me alone. Let me have my Diet Coke. So this was a weekly. I see her twice weekly. We have a girls' night out group that we do on Thursday nights, and then she and I meet for coffee practically every Sunday morning. And then of course I see her other times through the week. So anyway, every time she's, leave the Coke alone. So she made a comment to me. She said, Lena, you have worked so hard at getting your body healthy. You don't eat any crap. You don't have any crap in the house. You read every label that you purchase. You make sure there's no hidden ingredients. You cook most of the time. She said, you don't put chemicals into your body. She said, but here you are sabotaging everything, all of your hard work by drinking those Diet Cokes. And the light bulb went off in my head. So God bless you. You know who you are. And I'm over 30 days Diet Coke free. And now I'm working on getting my husband Diet Coke free. So
Wow. I know what a big deal that is. That is huge. And I'm so incredibly happy for you for being such a wonderful example that it can be done. That it takes baby steps. We all have different milestones, and that's the next baby step for you. Big leap, more so than a baby step. That's huge. Amy just asked, was it? No, it wasn't Amy. Someone just asked, what do we on your fast, do you add oils? Do you add coconut oil or other fats during your fast?
There's some controversy over that, and there's
Mm-hmm.
mixed opinions on that.
Mm-hmm.
You certainly don't want to add anything with a sweet taste to it, no sweeteners of any kind, because that then your pancreas thinks, oh my goodness, you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm getting some sugar. I need to prepare for that, and I'm gonna shoot out some insulin. So the whole name of the game here is keeping your insulin low. That's why we fast. For me personally, I do strictly black coffee or water. When I started out, I didn't learn to drink coffee until in my 40s, and it was more cream and sweetener than coffee. And then it kind of, you know, that kind of balanced out. But I still drank a little bit of cream and sweetener. And then when I started the fasting, you know, they say you can put some MCT oil, some coconut oil, or, you know, tablespoons 6 times a day, but you're still getting the protein in there. And for me, there's 2 things that I want to accomplish with my intermittent fasting. First and foremost is to keep that insulin level as low as I can. And so I don't want to put any protein, any cream in that might trigger that. And secondly, autophagy. And so I don't want to take the risk of screwing up. If I'm working that hard to do that 24-hour fast, why am I going to screw it up by putting some oil or some cream in my coffee and screw up the 2 benefits that I'm really trying to accomplish on that. So for me personally, it's water or black coffee, or, you know, unsweetened iced tea, or herb teas, but I don't put any sweetener when I'm fasting. And I see that Mal Holmes has just asked a question about stevia in soda. So there are some sodas that are sweetened with stevia, and those are fine, but I wouldn't do them on a fast. That would be way too much. You know, you wouldn't. That would totally screw up your insulin level. The stevia would on the soda. Well, maybe not. You know, stevia doesn't always affect everybody the same way. And how you know that, again, is back to the blood glucose monitor. So I actually wanted to find out if I have a stevia product that I use that's a drop, and I wanted to find out if that would spike my insulin. So early on in the fasting, I tested that by putting the same amount of drops of the stevia liquid in that I would have put into my coffee, put into a cup of water, and I just downed it. Oh my God, it was nasty. And then I tested my blood glucose prior to and 30 minutes, an hour, and 90 minutes after I downed that stevia shot. And it didn't change my, my insulin, my blood glucose at all. So I know that particular drop is fine for me, and I could put that in my coffee, but I don't want to because Dr. Berry and Dr. Fung say if you put the sweetener in the coffee, it's going to trigger the pancreas to release. So I just don't want to take that risk if I'm trying to.
Yeah, and Dr. Fung, for people who are going
to.
Sorry if we having a delay. So people are going to ask and they're going to get confused. And I just want to make sure that from what I say is I do follow Dr. Fung's philosophies of you can have fats, 1 tablespoon of fat up to 6 times a day per 24-hour fast. It's in the description link below that blog post that talks about what Dr. Fung talks about. But there's so many, thy own self be true. Everybody do what you feel personally best for your body. But I do want to give that disclaimer that that's what I follow and that's what I talk about. So sometimes people might get confused about, I don't do the sweetener part. And the cream part is that does block the autophagy. It lessens it. The fats, however, unless there's new research out on that's from Dr. Fung, that still is okay for not messing with autophagy for coconut oil, butter, MCT oil, and ghee. Correct?
Correct. That's my understanding. And like you said, to thine own self be true. And so this is what works for me.
Yes.
I'm kind of an all or nothing girl. That's why the ketogenic diet works for me. And being that said, is that an all or nothing girl is, how do I explain this? Because I know that I can't have the things that trigger my emotional eating, and I don't have them. Ketogenic diet works for me. I also know myself well enough that if I have those M&Ms, even just 3 or 4 M&Ms, that's going to trigger that emotional eating for me again, and I'll be right back down in a very few short months of being that fat, unhappy girl again, and I don't ever want to see her again. So I'm an all or nothing girl. I don't have cheat days. I don't knowingly eat things that are not clean. Occasionally I forget to read a label and there'll be something in there and I have heart failure and throw it away. But I don't cheat. I can't. It just that's my personality. I can't. I am a true carboholic. I liken my carboholic disease to an alcoholic's disease. And so you're not going to see me cheating. But I'm also not going to, I'm not going to chastise you. I'm not going to make you feel bad because your way is different than my way. Everybody's journey is different and they do what works for them. And if, by God, if, 3 or 4 M&Ms help you get through that day to day, then God bless you. You only had 3 or 4, you didn't have a 5-pound bag.
Right.
So,
right. Susan was asking.
To your own self-be true.
That's right. And Susan was asking, my husband's going to fast with me this weekend. He's never eaten keto. Is this okay? Possible side effects. The Count has started fasting. He does not do keto. And because I talk about the scientific research so heavily, 2016 Nobel Prize winner, one based on the autophagy concept. So my husband, the Count, has started doing fasting, and 18-6 is the jam. If you can get Susan, your husband, into it. My husband's not fat adapted, which I'm like, it's hurting yourself. It's hurting you more than you'd go longer. But so you don't have to be fat adapted too fast. It's just maybe harder. And Lena's suggestion with having the salt flakes or pink Himalayan salt as an additional additive to help get longer time. But the lowest point for autophagy is a 16-8. So 16 hours of fasting, 8-hour eating window. So did we have any other questions before we close?
That's really.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the 16-8 is really, really easy to do. It's a really great spot to start your intermittent fasting.
Oh, you are so wise, so funny, so smart, and so gracious and kind to come on. Literally, I wake you up out of bed basically and screw up the time for our interview, but I'm so grateful you did, Lena. People love you on YouTube, literally thousands, plural, of people watching the video from our part 1 series. So thank you for doing part 2 with us. If everyone wants to go check out Keto Butter Buddies on Facebook, I'll put the link in the description below. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I just wanted to say, I've got 3 simple questions on if you contact the Keto Butter Buddies to join, please just take a few minutes and answer those 3 questions. Because if you don't answer them, you're not coming in.
I love it. I love it.
Answer the question.
If everybody wants to make sure they like this video or heart, click subscribe, click share. Let's share this with as many folks as possible because I've learned more stuff today. You've taught me yet again, you've taught me more information. So thank you, Gracious, for being so gracious and taking the time to speak with us.
You're welcome. I think I'll go brush my teeth now.
You're the best. Have a great day. Bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye.